I am reading this article from my blog, link in the description. Praying in Tongues Testimony, life tip from God. I have a testimony after praying in tongues last night. This is definitely not the first testimony I have since I started praying in tongues several years ago. I have had many encounters which I'll do my best to share. Before I jump into telling you the testimony, let me give you a background. I do speak in tongues pretty much on a daily basis. I have been praying in tongues for the past 5 years. Over the past few years, I have grown in the gift. Getting testimonies from speaking in tongues didn't begin long ago. If you are new to speaking in tongues, don't worry if you don't start getting testimonies like I do. Keep growing in the gift and the testimonies will come. If you have been speaking in tongues for a while but don't get any testimonies, don't worry either. It is obvious that there are a few things you need to work on concerning the gift. On this blog, I cover many aspects of speaking in tongues. If you stick around and read other articles, you will get knowledge that will help you grow in the gift and start getting testimonies. None of us is born a master at speaking in tongues, and even getting to have the gift alone is a great achievement. Praying in tongues testimony background. I pray in tongues at random times of the day and night. For this particular testimony, I began praying at 11:30 at night. I wanted to sleep and wake up in the morning to pray. I was tired, but I decided to do whatever little I could. At the time I was praying, I was having a challenge following the decision I had made to quit college. I had not informed my dad about my decision and I wasn't sure what to tell him. Praying in tongues was a way to strengthen my faith and calm myself down to have a peaceful rest. I was praying from my room where I stay alone. I had a friend staying with me, but he left for a few days. Praying in tongues usually starts like any other prayer. It takes a bit to get the flow. I don't struggle to get the flow nowadays as I used to during the early days after receiving the gift. The more you pray in tongues, the easier it becomes to tune in the spirit. A few minutes into praying in tongues, I found peace, though the reality of telling my dad I had quit school was still lingering in my mind. As I persisted in praying, I got to a point of peace. My mind calmed down and nothing was bothering me anymore. Receiving a life tip from God while praying in tongues. This is where my testimony of praying in tongues begins. In that state of peace, the Lord began ministering to me. I understood after the prayer that God was speaking to me to encourage me. My faith really needed a boost. God revealed to me that the life of a man is a journey in which the man is supposed to get closer to God as he draws towards the end. God designed the latter years of life in such a way that a person has little strength. In those latter years, the children of the person will be in their prime and will rarely find time to be with them. Those final years of life are usually lonely years, but God didn't create them to be lonely years. Rather, He designed it that way so that in those last years, a person can have time with Him. God elaborated to me that if a man built a relationship with Him during his prime, he will never feel lonely during his final years. In fact, the final years will be full of joy as the person meditates on the goodness of the Lord throughout his life and the thought of finally meeting his Maker. This is reflected in the book of Ecclesiastes, where the author says, "Remember the Lord your God in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years draw near, when you say you find no pleasure in them." The strength that God gives us during our youthful years is meant to help us build a relationship with Him. When we get old, we will have little strength to build our relationship with Him. And remember that in the final years, we will only have God as our companion. Understanding my praying in tongues testimony. After I got this revelation from God while praying in tongues, I began to understand it more after I was done praying. The Spirit of God continued to elaborate to me what God had revealed to me. First, God revealed this tip of life to me to help me plan out my life well. Since I was struggling with worry that I may have made a bad decision by choosing to quit college, This assured me that provided I was spending my youth building my relationship with God, I had nothing to worry about. When the days of trouble come, I will have the Lord with me. Second, I understood from the revelation that my dad is starting to feel loneliness as a result. He feels a stronger urge to hold on to me. I am the last child among 7. But I know I have to spend my youth following God's will as opposed to pleasing my dad. Even though what my dad wants me to do is not evil, doing God's will is superior. The last thing I want is to regret in my old days having not built a strong relationship with God. With this understanding, I was encouraged. I am grateful to God that He loves me so much and that He takes His time to give me words of encouragement when I am feeling low. That was my praying in tongues testimony and how it strengthened my faith when I was struggling. I will keep launching deep into praying in tongues because I know there are greater things that God will reveal to me. If you have the gift of speaking in tongues, exercise it often. God will use the gift to reveal revelations to you, revelations that nobody knows anything about. If you don't have the gift, work hard to get it. God bless you.